AEW Unrestricted. It's Aubrey Edwards. It's Will Washington. We are here, and we are right around the corner from one of my favorite traditions in the history of AEW. It's AEW Grand Slam. We're coming up here at Arthur Ashe Stadium. This is the fourth Grand Slam? It's the fourth Grand Slam. Yeah, 21, 22, 23, 24, 20. Oh, yeah. So, yeah, it's the fourth Grand Slam. I don't know. I mean, look, I have been at, what is it? I will have been at 3 of the 4 Grand Slams.
Which one did you miss?
22. I was not at 22.
Hope you had a good excuse.
I mean, look, I honestly, I was just like kind of everywhere at that point. And I wasn't working for AEW yet. I was at 21 just as a fan. I actually took the picture that Tony posted like a year ago of himself and Lil Uzi Vert on the stage. That was my picture. And yeah, it's always such a good time being in Queens and seeing all the fans who, New York really doesn't get a whole lot of opportunities to see AEW. We really save it for this once a year. And although we just did Forbidden Door on Long Island, but I feel like to do a Dynamite like this, and it's going to be a Dynamite and Collision this time around, I think it's going to be dope. I'm really excited for it. I hope you're excited for it. And if you haven't got your tickets, AEWTIX.com is the way to be a part of Grand Slam.
Yeah, Grand Slam's always a good time. I love going to New York. I love seeing all those crazy fans. I'm excited. I'm going to a Yankees game when I'm out there this time. And I mean, it's just to kind of segue into the podcast a little bit. New York is the fashion capital of the world, I think, or fashion capital of the U.S. I don't know. Maybe our guests know better. Who do we have on the podcast today, Will?
Aubrey, we are joined by, look, this is going to be quite an episode of
buddy.
AEW Unrestricted, because the two men that are joining us today have already found a special place in the hearts of AEW fans everywhere. You know them. They are MXM Collection, Mason Madden, Mansoor. Thank you for being here.
Oh my God.
Thank you so much for having us. It's our pleasure. It's your pleasure as well. We like everyone to be pleasured in a group setting like this.
Yeah.
I'm all for group pleasure.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
I have to say, I have been working with the two of you for all of a month and some change. And the amount of times that you guys manage to pop me with little things like that will never cease to amaze me. The other day, I was like whistling to myself the what is it? The Kirby's Magic.
The Kirby Air Ride song, yeah.
The Kirby Air Ride melody. I was just whistling that to myself. Yeah.
And I always see in my head Kirby like bouncing around. You know when you finish a level and it's like
He does a little dance.
Yeah. But I was just like walking through a hallway, and I just like in my head, I thought it was in my head. I didn't even realize I did it out loud. But I was like busy working. I just went, and then Mansoor finishes the freaking melody for me. I didn't even realize he was standing there, and that's when I realized these are my guys.
It's just pure instinct.
Yes. And again, this is life working with the two of you, which of course you guys have now been in AEW since July. Officially on screen. You guys made your debut just before Ring of Honor, Death Before Dishonor, and pretty much it was like one pre-tape, and you guys were completely off to the races, and fans were all over it. Talk to me about what the experience was like getting to make that debut.
We had a fantastic time. More than anything, we were driven by a desire to make a great first impression, because as we all know, you only get one chance at a first impression. So we were lucky enough to work with two awesome guys in Serpentico and Angelico, of course.
Oh, Angelico, our new bestie.
Angelico, our new bestie. A handsome man. You know, no offense to Serpentico. I don't know how handsome he is. The guy's wearing a mask.
Who can know?
And Angelico, I mean, he took a picture with us backstage. We wanted to show off that we were all playing Tekken with and he was like, he's a handsome guy. He could fit in. Fit in. And a skinny legend. The guy's like 6'4". He's like tall and slender. Could be a model himself.
Also speaks fluent Spanish.
Yes.
And lives in Cancun now?
Yeah,
Not to
full
dox him?
time.
Yeah,
Yes.
what a guy.
Yeah, let's dox
Love
him.
that
Yeah,
guy.
if you wanna find him in his home.
We'll find him.
Yeah, no, and Helico's the best. My favorite thing was I was just riding with him the other day, and the parking attendant stopped him, and they asked for our credentials, all of that, and then they were like, "Wait, where are you from?" And of course, anytime he gets stopped anywhere, he's always asked that question. Well, it's a complicated question because nobody ever gets it right, but everybody always wants to ask because then you turn it around on them and you go, "Where do you think I'm from?" And no one ever gets it. It's great. It's great to watch it happen.
Wait a minute, what are you talking about? Even with the accent, there's only one place in the world.
We're a few years out.
Talk like
we're a
this.
few years out from District 9. We're a few years out.
District 9 was a cultural
So,
moment.
to be fair,
was.
most Americans are not culturally savvy. So they look at him and go, I have no idea where you're from.
Well, yeah, they're immediately like, okay, that's got to be a European accent of some sort. And so they'll start guessing all over Europe. But they'll never get...
Maybe European colonization? Like,
Yeah.
Sneaky.
As far as you're going to get.
Sneaky.
Now, Mason.
Like that Elon Musk, that sneaky character. Ah.
One of the things that was brought up constantly as you guys were making your way into AEW is the fact that this is not your first time working for the Khan family.
Two-time Con employee.
Yes, you are, because you, of course, signed to the Jags at one point.
I was. And actually, which I learned when I re-met Tony for the first time. We're meeting Tony before our Death Before Dishonor debut. And Tony walks up to me and he was like, "Hey, do you remember when I came and interviewed you in 2012 at University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill? You were 315 pounds and we were looking to draft you and we didn't end up getting you, but we would have loved to get you, which is why we got you." And I was like, I had no memory that Tony Khan interviewed me in college because it was so long ago. I knew I worked for them when I was with the Jags, but to my shock and surprise, he had come and met me when I was just a wee lad at the University of North Carolina and did an interview with me.
And how did he remember how much you weigh?
it's Tony. He remembers everything.
That's
Yeah,
crazy.
are you kidding me? This is Tony Khan. This is
It's like, you guys haven't been here long enough to know that like this is totally a reasonable thing. Like,
I don't remember how much my daughter weighed when she was born.
I don't remember what year I graduated.
Well, you know what's funny though, Mansoor? You'll appreciate this. You of all people. I do remember how much my daughter weighed when she was born. She was 6 pounds, 9 ounces.
Let's go! Let's go!
Good number.
You can never forget that.
an easy one to remember.
You can't forget it.
It was.
I'm
I
so
don't
lucky.
remember how much my son was, but I
she
do
come out
remember
and go,
that.
nice.
Of course.
That, of course, yeah. Literally, they set her
Yeah.
down on the scale, and I just went, nice.
Your
And that
son
was
should have
it.
been born at a cooler weight. Okay, that's his fault.
Yeah.
All right,
What's cooler than 69?
nothing.
Exactly. What were we talking
420.
about? I don't even know.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, our debut,
Yeah.
Ring of
so-
Honor, Death
so
Before
either way-
Dishonor.
Yeah, so again, you got to come back into the Khan family. You got to work again for Tony. And again, we talked about you making your debut. One of the things that I found really cool about that time period was that, of course, we were in our residency at the Esports Stadium in Arlington. And you guys almost got to make a home there. It was almost like with those fans for that 6-week span we were there, and I was at every one of those shows. It felt like the fans were growing more and more fond of you guys as each week passed. And it didn't take that long, right? It felt like even with the first one, fans were already into it. But I remember I had to produce one of your segments, and it was one with Top Flight. And it was the one where you guys walk off and are like, you're like, this interview is over. And then I don't remember how we even came up with that, but I remember it was like I wanted to make sure you guys turned around and did the pose, but we didn't have like an ending for it. And so I was like, what if you guys just declared the interview over? And they're like, but wait, this is our interview. But you guys just walk off anyway, and the cameras just stayed with you guys. But I remember we had done that one, and hearing the crowd response to every single piece of it, when the camera panned over to you guys, and you guys got that pop, and then when you did the pose and they lost it for it, that was when it hit me. I was like, this is it. We've got it. We have a hit act here.
what's been really cool for us, and we can say this knowing like where we've been throughout our careers together, it is so amazing. Like our hearts are filled with joy and love every time we get a good response, because we do not expect it. And it happened like very early on. Like we got a good reaction when we first came out, and every time we go out for a new show in a new town, we're like, oh, I sure hope Lexington, Kentucky likes us. And they do. And it's a shock to us every time. And we're so happy, and we're so gracious to the fans who have supported us and really like jumped on board. And I think a big part of it is, like you said, we could kind of make a home in Arlington and kind of show people what we do. And I think what's unique about AEW fans, and Aubrey, I think I've told you this, is that everybody who watches AEW watches all of AEW and everything. Mm-hmm. So it's much less of a, like, you need to be on TV for a couple of years before people start recognizing you. You know, it's not like they're just coming into town to see if such and such is here. They're here for AEW, and they're hardcore. They're sickos, and the sickos know everything that's going on, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Very much so. I remember the first time I saw you guys at work. I don't think I told you this, but I saw you guys come in. You had a pre-tape, and we'll talk about that in a minute, and walked into the makeup room and just right into the makeup chair. And I look at them. I'm like, who do these motherfuckers think they are? Because, and I'm texting people, are these guys signed? What's going on? I don't even know, but it was, because like there's a hierarchy, man. Like there's an order, there's a schedule, it's talked about in advance. And I'm like, and then as soon as I see the pre-tape, I sent it to my sister and I went, this is your new favorite tag team. Like these guys are so phenomenal. I'm like, I don't care. They could sit in the makeup chair as much as they freaking want. I love this. It's so amazing. It's wonderful. It's everything I love about wrestling, because it's less, I love that you guys are just so bought into it, right? It's a matter of like, you could take it one step, but you guys figure out, you're all in. Hey, there you go. You figure out how to take it one step further each time. It's not just monitor watching, it's monitor watching while showing off your abs. It's everything. How was it, what was it like basically coming into AEW and just immediately introducing who you guys are to our audience?
I think that one of the biggest lessons we learned in our previous place of employment is that every single second on television matters an incredible amount, right? So when we get a monitor shot, which means, you know, we're on camera for 5 seconds, we want to make sure that those 5 seconds we're on TV is what people are going to remember out of that segment. You know what I mean? Because TV time is a gift. It really is. And every moment and opportunity you're on TV, you have the opportunity to endear yourself further with the audience. So we knew upon coming in that, hey, whatever this is, especially with our act, people are going to they're going to want to not like this act. They are going to come in thinking, I don't want to like these guys. And we knew that it was going to be an uphill battle. I just saw a tweet the other day. I shit you not. I saw a tweet from an AEW influencer account. Big fan. We love our fans. And he or she or they said, you know, when MXM Collection first debuted, I really didn't want to like them, and I thought it was an embarrassing signing. But now I love them! And I was like, thanks, I guess. I don't...
Is that a compliment?
In a way, it's kind of the ultimate compliment, because especially for fans of something as passionate as wrestling fans, for them to say, you know what, I was wrong, that's huge. How many times do you see a wrestling fan say that? It never happens.
Never.
So I almost take that as kind of a mark of pride, that just through pure determination and grit and trying to be as entertaining as possible, we turn people's opinions around us on us so quickly. And it's been a huge part thanks to, you know, creative in AEW, Tony. One of the first things that we did that I thought was genius was our second match in the company was against one of the best, if not the best tag teams in the world, FTR. Just a complete polar opposite presentation of our gimmick and our character. You put these two diametrically opposed opposites in front of each other and have us have a competitive, hard-hitting match, and instantly you legitimize us not just as an entertaining and funny act, but as one that can go in the ring, and that's so incredibly important. And for us to have our first foot, like, we got our foot through the door and we had that opportunity to work with a top team like them and show that we could go with them, that was huge, huge, huge for us. And from that point on, it was off to the races. Not just with the backstages, which we love doing. And an incredible opportunity for us has been able to collaborate with not just the people that are in the segment, but with production, with creative. How many times have we done a backstage where it'll start as one segment and then it'll transform and morph into a funnier, more entertaining segment just because people are pitching ideas, and it's like a fun time. Like we're all like almost like it's a writer's room. Like we're doing it as we go.
We
so it's
go
just been a
with that.
blast.
It's that Simpsons SNL mentality where it's like you're just trying to get like jokes per second at some point. And we're like every 5 seconds is kind of just like, okay, well, how do we make this funnier, or how do we elevate this, or how do we do this in a way that people are going to remember this, or how are we going to get a good gif or something like that. And I think that kind of attention to detail has really helped us. And on top of all of that, even if you were a fan of us from before, nobody knew that we could wrestle at all.
Yeah.
The biggest thing for us,
even our fans from before were like, "Oh, they're such a cute. They try so hard. They're such a cute little act." You know? I love them. But you know,
but
I mean, yeah, because like,
yeah,
in AEW, I mean, just from the first few matches we had, we spent more time in the ring bell to bell perhaps than our entire career in our previous companies. So it's just a matter of getting the opportunity to show that, you know, even with this act, this presentation, our matches are all sort of formatted very similarly, which is that up front you want to showcase your character and establish, you know, how we want the audience to feel about us and how we want the audience to feel about the opposite team. And then as the match goes on, that's when we get into more hard-hitting action. Once we've introduced ourselves and said, "Hi, nice to meet you. This is who I am. This is who they are. Now it's time to punch each other in the face and do some crazy cool shit." We want to make sure that we satisfy both audiences, and especially the people who love both, because I think we provide both of those things for really, you know, everybody. Like I said earlier, we take it as a mark of pride that even the people who say, "You know what, I usually don't like this kind of thing, but goddamn, MXM, they're pretty goddamn good at it." You know, it's kind of like, oh, that makes me kind of feel fuzzy inside.
I love it. I'm loving this conversation, and I've got so much more to pick the brains of Mason and Mansoor, and we're going to get to do so right here when AEW Unrestricted continues. AEW Unrestricted, we're back here with MXM Collection. So, I've had this conversation with you guys privately, but I'm going to bring this up here. In the fact that, you know, there's a lot of people who I hear that all the time, the thing you guys were talking about, where people go, you know, this act is going to be a little hokey, and then they end up being pleasantly surprised by it. And I've seen a lot of people come around on it, and that's a really great thing. However, I have to tell you, and again, I told you guys this, I was in from the beginning. And I'm talking about, like, I remember the moment I was completely sold was SummerSlam 22. And I remember I was watching it at my friend Denise's house, and she was just like, "Oh, what is this shit?" And and
which is weird. Denise's usually go for us. That's usually our targeting audience.
Denise's.
But you know, it was funny because I remember it was the moment where Max Dupree was on screen with you guys, and you know, she was one of those, "Oh, well, this is just such a waste of blah blah," and I was like, "Now hold on, like this whole thing completely popped me," and like by the end of it, I was like, "No, this is great. I'm completely sold on this. You are wrong. You are completely wrong," and I feel vindicated in that now, knowing where you guys. And it's hard to say even are today, because I just see the trajectory of where you guys are headed. And I'm like, I am one of the bigger MXM fans backstage. But like, I wanted to talk to you guys a little bit about that moment and kind of what you guys felt at that time period was headed you guys' direction.
We always appreciate, we always say it's the people who know ball. You know, the people who could tell, even with the little bit that we got in the beginning, is like, oh, there's something there. And I think the something for us has always been commitment. It wasn't this character, this presentation was never something that we came up with. But because we're friends, because we're best friends, and we have such good chemistry together in general, and because we just like both committed to just going all in on this shtick and everything about it, it's I think it really registers with people, you know, watching at home. They see it's like they're having fun, so I can have fun watching them have fun. Which is, it's one of the big things that we tell people if they ever get a gimmick, like, you know, Top Flight at this point, got their new little outfits, and I was like, man, if you guys buy in, if you guys go all the way in on this, you guys do airplane spins, everybody's gonna love you.
That
You
was
just
us, by the way.
Love it. That was us.
We're taking all
I'm
the
taking
credit.
full credit for the airplane.
When they
spin.
do an airplane, when Layla Gray does the thing with the airline gimmicks, that was us. All right. So a lot of people are gonna either love us or hate us for that. But we said, you boys better buy into this shit. You better get yourself some little pins.
Yeah,
Because that's important, right?
The second pre-tape you guys had with Top Flight, and you guys were dropping all the plane references, and again, it had me dying. Like it was one of those things. I was like watching you guys film it, and I was like falling out. Like I was gonna ruin the pre-tape in the room if I had to be in there. Like when you guys got the snakes on the plane, I was like, all right, here we go.
That's one of the cool things that, like, we love doing that with Top Flight because we are such crazy characters. It gives other acts the opportunity to bounce off us, right? Mm-hmm. So it gives them the opportunity to show off their personality, and then we get to bounce off each other, and it just makes magic.
I feel like it's one of the things that's really great about having such a like guys that are so bought into their character. It's something that I noticed really early on in the indies, like when you had someone come in and they had an existing character, whoever they were facing was like came in with ideas of, okay, your character does this crazy thing. How about we do this? How about we do this? How about we do this? And it just keeps it refreshing because we do a lot of wrestling every week. The sickos watch 5 hours of television. So it's how can we keep it different? How can we keep it interesting? And I think you guys have done a really great job of that throughout your careers, but also in the short time you've been with us, it's just been kind of like a nice little jolt to everyone else of going, hey, there's this cool new group that we get to play with all the time. Like, let's have some fun. Let's like kind of not be so serious and just, you know, maybe touch tips a little bit. So
that's actually been what's really been fun was just interacting with people and having them like Buddy when we wrestled House of Black the other week. We found out about the match a week before, and Buddy hasn't texted me in years. And he's like, hey guys, I got some ideas for this match. I think
I got some ideas for the match,
I think
mate.
we have a really good time, mate. And he was so excited, and he had such good stuff to bring to the table. And it was it's so refreshing because even like, not even as a viewer, just as a wrestler, when you're wrestling several times a week, every week, having a match that's just, you know, a competitive high stakes match with another team that's also competitive and high stakes, it can get a little graining. It can get a little tiring because there's only so much story that can be told, especially in a completely cold match. But when you're given different pieces to the puzzle, then all of a sudden you can have more fun with it. And a big credit to the environment that we're in right now. There was no world before where we could go into a night with a match like we did with House of Black and ask, like, hey, can we have 3 extras to be judges and have them get killed? like there was no way that would ever happen for us before. So it's been stuff like that because of the environment that's, you know, been provided to us at this point allows us to even spread our wings even further and have even more fun.
It's such an excellent little microcosm of what we're all about, that House of Black match. Because, like, the week before, it's like, all right, guys, you and House of Black, Friday night fashion fight. Okay, cool. What does that mean? And then we all got to figure it out together and make it the most entertaining thing it could possibly be. And it's an excellent summary of what we're all about. Because we came in with those judges, and we established this fun, little, neat storyline thread throughout the match where they were doing the scores, and then bam, Brody kills them, and then suddenly it turns into choke slams and meat crashing into meat and slapping, and the crowd's going meat, meat, meat because Mason and Brody are slamming into each other, and there's crazy near falls and high spots, and it's like that's what we're all about. We're all about an exciting, entertaining, storytelling kind of style. I think there is a sort of synthesis, and really AEW is kind of the only place where that can happen. Because in any other company, we'd kind of get pigeonholed. But not only do we get to be that entertaining and funny act, we also get to go, like we said earlier, when the bell rings. So it's just been a blast. Like it's been so rewarding to be able to do both of those things so that we can show everybody what we're capable of.
I think it's also really great because that extra was definitely very excited to wear plywood shoes, a trash bag. And
so, okay, me and Billy Starks, Billy is amazing because she wanted to help us do this.
Oh, yeah.
I held that 2x4 on his foot as she rolls and rolls like miles of tape because that was coming off. Every time he took a step, I had to carry him to catering on my back because I didn't want the 2x4s on his feet.
Oh, the other
to come
two
off.
extras had to carry him down the ramp
Yes.
in order to get to the spot with the numbers. It was brilliant. And you could tell they were having a great time.
They were like, guys, should we just take the shoes off? And I was like, no, he needs the shoes. He needs the shoes.
They're clogs. It's a reference to Tommy's homeland.
Again, like I said, I think what's also been really interesting, you almost wonder if we're exhausting everything too quickly, but the amount of teams you guys have gotten to work with just since you've been in AEW. And granted, there's still plenty more to go. But the fact that you got to start with FTR, you got to work with Top Flight, right? You guys have gotten to work with the Acclaim. And we've seen you guys have these backstage segments. We've seen you guys have these matches. Again, we talked about House of Black. And it is one of those things where it is very quickly getting the AEW audience acclimated to you guys. At the same time, that begs the question to me of like, what teams are still on the docket? What teams are you still looking forward to getting to have those moments with that you haven't yet?
That is a great question. I mean, obviously, we got to call out the Young Bucks. The way they are dressed is just tragic. What are we looking at? What is with the vest, the sleeveless vest, naked underneath with the I'm sorry. I know there are EVPs, but Matthew Nicholas, we're going to have to find you for fashion faux pas. Ooh. But of course, that being said, other than that, they are, I think we can all say, one of, if not the best tag team of all time. The legacy that they have left, and even just in the founding of AEW beyond their wrestling careers, is truly incredible. So getting to share a ring with them, they're a team, if we can kind of open the curtain a little bit, we've gone to multiple times after our matches and asked, what can we be doing better? Because they're another tag team who kind of married funny goofiness with serious, intense, high-paced action. I mean, like when people say, oh, the Bucks were it's just spots and spots and spots, that's absolutely not true. One of the first times I ever saw, this is one of my favorite spots to do, is a hot tag where the heel team gets the tag first. The Bucks were the first people I ever saw do the thing where they come in and trip on the bottom rope, eat shit. Bam, there's the hot tag, and then the bump and feed. It's just like little stuff like that just like enhance those little character moments. Yeah, so smart. And even just match structure. Like I always say that the Bucks, they sort of perfected in the early 2010s that tag team match structure where you could actually predict what the crowd was going to say and chant and react based on how you called the spots. Like they knew, all right, this is where they're going to chant, this is awesome. This is where they're going to chant, fight forever. Like they could have a match where they knew exactly how the crowd was going to react after every single sequence. So that's just like a level that we're trying to get to. Other teams that I think about, Mason, do you have any in mind?
I mean, we're really just having a blast every week. It's somebody new. Obviously, the biggest thing was we haven't actually had the match yet, but the Acclaimed was something that everybody was clamoring for immediately. Almost, it was really cool to see.
I mean, scissoring and touching tips like kind of writes itself in the fact that like you guys, yeah,
it's meant to be.
It's like I said. Simpaticos. I said on Twitter a while back, it's been a long time since my tip felt the touch of a scissor. But I think it's time to reintroduce these two concepts. I do.
Your tip with some scissors?
He's very passionate about.
I'm very passionate about it. I'm very passionate about it.
Don't get him started.
Don't get me started about
tips. He almost sued his mother.
I did not threaten litigation against my mother. I thought about it, but I didn't do it. I didn't.
Okay. Before this gets out of hand, before we have to get lawyers involved, we're going to take a quick break and then come back and talk on here on AEW Unrestricted.
Unrestricted.
AEW Unrestricted. It's Aubrey and Will with our guest MXM Collection. We're in Seg 3, something you guys are very unfamiliar with.
Oh,
wow!
Steph,
How dare
Steph,
you?
Steph! Yeah, I mean, you're not wrong, but you don't have
It's
to
true.
say it.
It's damn true.
I mean, I think we're on our way there. I think at some
We
point
are.
we'll get there, right?
Yeah,
I
we've
think
gotten
that-
2, and this is the first company that's had us in 2 segments.
which
So-
is
Imagine what we
Which
could
is
do with
crazy.
3.
Oh, buddy.
I mean, again, it's one of those things where you walk in, you get to have the conversation about the match times, and I mean, what did you do the first time you were told it's going to be a 3-3-7?
Oh, we went through our Rolodex of false finishes, which were about like 2 moves.
Yeah.
We're like, what do we? That was actually us on the Indies when we first got released. We were like, what do we do? All we do is a double back elbow. I don't know.
we gotta make some new moves.
We have to make up, and we did. We literally had to make up new moves. And thank God, because like that period of time on the Indies where we got to do a bunch of Indies in America, we got to go to Japan, we got to go to Europe, and sort of like when we were on the Indies, we had the goal of going to AEW. That was always the goal. And honest to God, like even while we were in WWE, me and Mason, we're kind of we're different a little bit, if that makes sense. If there's a comparison to make, it's like if WWE is like a Michael Bay movie, I see AEW as like a David Lynch movie. You know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
yeah. It's like you can. And there was always something so alluring about that. I remember we were sitting when AEW first started. We were in NXT. And we'd be sitting in that auditorium watching NXT while people would be on their phones watching AEW. And there was always like an element of like that outsider intrigue, that new sort of revolutionary thing where we were like, God, I feel like if we were over there, we could be doing something really special. So like all these years later, it's so rewarding to actually show up and for it to kind of take off in that sense where creatively speaking, I think it's just firing off on all cylinders where the synergy has been awesome. Because getting the opportunity to actually have a little bit of creative freedom while also working with the creative team in AEW has, I think, for us, produced some of the best things that we've ever done. So it's just been awesome.
So you guys have such great chemistry together, and you have such different backgrounds, yet you're best friends. Like, how did this all happen? How did you guys get paired together? What is the secret to your amazing friendship?
Complete coincidence.
Yeah, it was an accident.
From the day I walked into the Performance Center, we were like this. It was pretty much instant.
Like literally, you walked in the first time, and I got out of the ring and hugged you, based on nothing.
Based on nothing. Maybe our internet presence. Like that was pretty
our
much
mutual internet presence, I guess. That was it.
Because even though he is the son of an NFL player who grew up in Massachusetts, who went on to become an NFL player on his own, and I was a guy who grew up on the other side of the world in Saudi Arabia, who then moved to San Francisco and went to school for acting in New York. We somehow are pretty much the same person in radically different bodies. So it's just been like an instant connection. And then when we were put together for the male model tag team, it was we even said to them, we were like, do you guys know we're like best friends? They were like, no, we were both just not doing anything. So, and they said we were good looking. So that's a plus.
You're both good looking and not doing anything. So we figured we'd throw you guys together. That was it.
Hey, however you get work.
Exactly. And that was kind of our philosophy too, because it was so radically different from what both of us had been doing. Mason was a gimp and I was the sort of PR representative for their relationship with Saudi Arabia. And the thing is, like, I had to be a very squeaky clean kind of clean cut guy when really that's not who I am at all. I'm kind of a psycho. Like, what I mean?
That's the thing that's like shocked me the most about getting to know you is that again, you were like the squeaky clean PR representative. Like that's all anybody knew from you.
Dirty, grimy.
I'm a dirty, disgusting gremlin. I'm a goblin.
I get along with him so well.
Internet deviant that I was in the early 2000s. It's great.
That's why I just saw that Outrunner shirt and I instantly knew what meat spin was. Like that's just who I am. That's who we are. Like I'm sorry. So I enjoy portraying whatever they want me to portray. But the kind of clean cut blue chipper Saudi guy was kind of difficult because I had to kind of be that in real life too when I would do interviews and stuff. And I was very proud to represent my home country. But I wanted so much more in terms of portraying a character and like having something to chew on. And that's what's been great about as
I'm just
MXM.
picturing like Mulan, but like the Who I Am inside is just like an internet troll.
Disgusting goblin.
It's me looking in the mirror and seeing myself with just the troll face, like. and Mason has a much better handle on it. He is way more self-controlled.
It's
than
because
me.
I've been in the public eye for a much larger portion of my life, I guess.
Yeah,
He's had more
and because
practice.
he's been a father
Yeah.
for a much larger portion as well.
keep
But
pumping
we're
him
kind of he just can't stop. He can't
Can't
stop.
stop. Can't stop.
Sneezes and there's another kid.
But actually, that's been part of why I think our segments in AEW, especially the backstages, have been like so much fun. Is that we both come in with ideas, not just us, but like creative, like the writers that are involved. It's so easy to take our act and come up with something funny and unique for every single segment we do. And that's what's been great about when they came at us in WWE, hey, we want you to be male models. Everybody came up to us and was like, listen, I know you hate this. I know you want to die, but you just have to do it. I was like, it's not that bad. It's like, if this were the 70s, like everybody, there was a Repo Man. Like, what do you, that's pro wrestling. A lot of the success of what this act is going to be is based on like what you said earlier, Aubrey. It's just commitment. And Will, like you were talking about the water commercial, we both thought of that gasoline scene in Zoolander where they're spraying each other with gasoline, and we were like, "What if that's what we do? What if we and we're hitting the beach ball around, and we're throwing the frisbee?" And I'll never forget, Mason's trainer is Booker T, and Booker T saw Mason as this monster, this heavy, this vicious giant.
I was the great Black Hope for him. He used to say, "You're going to be the next Brock Lesnar, the Black Brock Lesnar."
And Booker
I love
T.
that every black person I know, by the way, has a great Booker T impersonation. Because for me as well, it's like shuck it, duck it, quack quack, right? Like we can all do it.
We all have an uncle that's just like him. So
We're pouring water on each other, and we're spraying water and hosing each other off. And Booker T walks in and sees this and goes, "Oh no! Oh, come on, man! Come on!" But we were all in. We were all in then, and it's so awesome to finally kind of feel like being all in is paying off. So yeah. I mean, we carry that energy into everything we do here.
Oh my god.
Wait a minute. Even winning matches, Aubrey. You've been our referee, thank God, for many of our matches.
I have
and
literally,
you were so game, which is
dude.
amazing.
I cannot tell you
for our little
when
antics.
you guys were on Rampage, I look at the card and I turn to Paul and go, "Dude, I need this match. Give it to me."
Yeah,
I
And
need
he's like,
it.
"Okay,
I need it.
Sure." And I walk up to you guys. I'm like, "I have an idea. I have an idea for when you win."
It's been perfect because just having you raise our arms and saying no, turn it around.
Yeah.
And the turn and the look, that's just another way for us to be different. Like everything we do.
Such a big part of what we do is like going through all of the motions of the pro wrestling stuff and figuring out a way is like, it doesn't make sense that we would just, it's like you said, we wouldn't just watch the screen backstage. We wouldn't do that. It's always something like, we wouldn't just have our hands raised. Like it's always about elevating those silly tropes. And I guess that's what kind of makes it fun in being in this place where it is a little bit more of like I guess like a smarter, more knowledgeable of the type of storytelling that is pro wrestling that allows all of those things to pay off so much more. And I think people appreciate it.
I think for me, the biggest thing is like, if you have coworkers, like the guys who were in the truck, they've been doing wrestling for years, not only just with us, but for decades even. So something as simple as holding up hands and turning simultaneously, if you can pop the truck and give them something that they've never seen before, you're clearly doing something right. That's my stance.
Those are guys who've been working since WCW days. Like
Right?
they've seen it all.
They've seen some shit, man.
To pop them, to have them see something new, that's a very high praise.
Well, I just wanted to say that having you guys on this show, there's like a whole bunch of questions we never even got to.
We didn't even touch.
But the beauty of this is that we're just in the beginning. This is the beginning phases for the both of you guys. And I have a feeling that this is one of those interviews that people are going to be able to revisit and talk about the beginning stages of what MXM was able to do in AEW. So thank you for being here. It has been such a pleasure.
We've had a blast.
For having us.
Please bring us back. We'd love to do it again.
We're great on rewatch.
We're great on rewatch. We, like you said, we put little Easter eggs in everything we do.
Hey, there we go.
So keep that in mind. We like to lay eggs. That's us.
Yeah, I'm an egg layer.
Well, we're not laying eggs here on the AEW Unrestricted, which you can catch on all of your favorite podcast platforms, Spotify, wherever you get your podcast. Please leave us a rating and a review. Apple Podcasts, anything, whatever Android users use to get their podcast.
You freaks.
Still exists.
Whatever weird, disgusting shit you guys use.
No, but here's the thing. I was an Android user like a year and a half ago, but I was.
On his first day, I told him he had to change.
The light.
Yeah, but the problem is, like, I don't even know what app to use anymore. But either way, get us on all of your favorite podcast platforms. Don't forget, you can also check out video editions of this show, and you'll want to check out video editions of this specific episode.
Oh,
yes.
Oh, buddy.
Check out our YouTube channel. Just search AEW Unrestricted. Hit that subscribe button so you never miss an episode. And catch up on all the latest AEW shows on the go when you download the TNT and TBS apps from the App Store and Google Play. Then sign up for our weekly newsletter at tntdrama.com/elitefleet to get the updates on upcoming shows, live events, sweepstakes, merchandise, and more. AEW Dynamite is on TBS Wednesdays at 8 p.m. AEW Rampage is on TNT Fridays at 10 p.m. And AEW Collision live every Saturday night at 7 Central on TNT. Ring of Honor streams every Thursday on Honor Club. Otherwise, I'm Will Washington. That's Aubrey Edwards. Thanks for listening to AEW Unrestricted.
Touch tapes!
Touch my tap.